The French Revolution opened up the possibility of creating a dramatic change in the way in which society was structured. In many parts of the world, including Europe and Asia, new ideas about individual rights began to be discussed. In India, Raja Ram Mohan Roy and Desrosiers talked of the significance of the French Revolution. The groups which looked to change society were the liberals. Liberals wanted a nation which tolerated all religions. Liberals did not believe in universal adult franchise and also did not want the vote for women. Radicals wanted a nation in which government was based on the majority of a country's population. Radicals were not against the private property but disliked concentration of property in the hands of a few. Conservatives were opposed to radicals and liberals. After the French Revolution, however, even conservatives had opened their minds to the need for change. Suffragette movement, a movement to give women the right to vote. By the mid-19th century in Europe, socialism was a well-known body of ideas that attracted widespread attention. Karl Marx and Friedrich Engels added other ideas about changing society. Socialists took over the government in Russia through the October Revolution in 1917, the fall of monarchy in February 1917, and the events of October are normally called the Russian Revolution. The majority religion was Russian Orthodox Christianity, which had grown out of the Greek Orthodox Church, but the empire also included Catholics, Protestants, Muslims, and Buddhists. In 20th century, beginning, the vast majority of Russia's people were agriculturists. Russia was a major exporter of grain at that time. Prominent industrial areas were at St. Petersburg and Moscow. Many factories were set up in 1890s when Russia's railway network was extended. Most industry was the private property of industrialists. Government supervised large factories to ensure minimum wages and limited hours of work. Metal workers considered themselves aristocrats among other workers. Their occupations demanded more training and skill. Women made up 31% of the factory labor force by 1914, but they were paid less than men. In the countryside, peasants cultivated most of the land, but the nobility, the crown, and the Orthodox Church owned large properties. Russian peasants were different from other European peasants in another way. They pooled their land together periodically and their commune divided it according to the needs of the individual families. The Russian Social Democratic Workers' Party was founded in 1898 by socialists who represented Marx's ideas. Socialists were active in the countryside and formed the Socialist Revolutionary Party in 1900. Socialist Revolutionary Party struggled for peasants' rights and demanded that land belonging to nobles be transferred to peasants. The Socialist Democratic Party was divided into Bolsheviks and Mensheviks. Russia was an autocracy unlike other European rulers. The Tsar was not subject to parliament. The year 1904 was a particularly bad one for Russian workers. Prices of essential goods rose so quickly that real wages declined by 20%. In January 1905, the procession of workers led by Father Gapon reached the Winter Palace. It was attacked by the police and the Cossacks. Over 100 workers were killed and about 300 wounded. The incident is known as Bloody Sunday. During the 1905 revolution, an elected parliament called the Duma formed. In April 1917, the Bolshevik leader Vladimir Lenin returned to Russia from his exile and made 3 demands known as April Theses. The conflict between the Kerensky provisional government and the Bolsheviks caused October Revolution. The Bolsheviks controlled the Moscow-Petrograd area. The October Revolution set up Lenin's first communist government in the world. The Bolsheviks party was renamed as the Russian Communist Party. During 1918 and 1919, the Greens and Whites fought a civil war with the Bolsheviks. By January 1920, the Bolsheviks controlled most of the former Russian Empire. They succeeded due to cooperation with non-Russian nationalists and Muslim jihadists. Stalin, who headed the party after the death of Lenin, introduced firm emergency measures. From 1929, Stalin forced all peasants to cultivate in collective farms to reduce the shortage of grains. The bad harvest of 1930-1933 led to one of the most devastating famines in Soviet history, when over 4 million died. In each country, the impact of Russian Revolution was felt globally, and the idea of socialism were rethought in a variety of different ways.